We try to get 10 to 15 young graduates inside Nokia, and we let them work with our project with the aim to potentially provide them a full-time job. Our strategy is to connect more people, whatever it is with fiber at home or whatever it is through the 4G or 5G or the evolution to 5.5G. We just have invested as well in an innovation center locally.
Oh,
We
really?
can tackle problem together. It's a 260 square meter facility where we aim to do training for our partner.
Hello and welcome to another insightful episode of ITWeb TV with me, Sibahle Malinga, as we unpack Nokia as a global technology company that specializes in network infrastructure, cloud solutions, and advanced connectivity technologies. Once known primarily for its mobile phones, Nokia has evolved into a telecoms giant specializing in 5G networks, digital infrastructure, and industrial automation. So today we're joined by Toni Pellegrino, who is the head of Network Infrastructure, Southern and Eastern Africa, Managing Director of Nokia South Africa, and he's going to be talking to us about Nokia's strategy and some of the trends dominating Africa's telecoms sector. Toni, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on ITWeb TV. Welcome.
Thank you, Sibatle, for having me today and looking forward to our discussion.
It's an absolute honor. So Nokia has evolved from a traditional telecoms infrastructure company that was primarily known for its smartphones to really a leader in 5G networks, industrial automation, and so many other verticals. Take us through this trajectory.
Yeah, it has been really a long journey. Nokia is known to change and metaform itself. But basically, if we look at Nokia, we have a strong mobile network background. As you say, we have been deploying the 2G, 3G, 4G, and 5G network in South Africa since 1994, 1995. But we also have been selling mobile phone for many, many years. And that was the brand known for.
Absolutely.
But in 2013, we decided to sell the feature phone and smartphone business to HMD. And in 2014, we really become more a network company where we helping communication service provider to deploy the technology they need to provide services to consumer, to enterprise, and to government. But what is also interesting in South Africa is that we have been in South Africa since 1860. 1860 is
That's
so
a long
long
time,
ago.
eh? Many people don't know that.
At the time, it was Siemens Telecommunication, because you may not know, but Nokia acquired Siemens Telecommunication on the way. And we were building the first telegraph line from Simonstown to Cape Town. So over the year, Nokia has changed, and we had acquisition of Alcatel-Lucent as well in 2017. We also acquired Motorola Networks, their mobile network that they were also supplying on the continent. And last but not least, in 2025, we finalized the acquisition of Infinera, a leader in optical network. So for that point of view, in the search of having the best that could be offered to our customer, we evolved as a company. And this evolution came over the year naturally, depending on what were the requirements of the market.
So with Nokia being a leader in so many verticals, I can imagine that perhaps if you didn't sell your phone business, you'd probably be still excelling in that vertical. So, and I guess many people still don't know that Nokia no longer makes phones. So why did Nokia sell its phone business?
As I said, we are no more a consumer brand. We are a B2B. Even 2 years ago, we relaunched our brand, Nokia, with a different logo. And that if you look, each single letter alone doesn't have a meaning. But when you put them together, you can see Nokia really to address more our business-to-business approach, acting together to create technology that help the world. And that was really important. And when we decided to sell the mobile business, Nokia was no more relevant in the Nokia mobile business, as we see the smartphone taking over, and we were left behind in many areas. So it was a sell that has been done in 2014 to HMD, and HMD today produce fantastic smartphones that are also available on the African market. And to really to focus for Nokia on the networks. That has become our focus for Nokia.
Mm. And interestingly, HMD, of course, is also winding down its Nokia brand, and it's going to be pushing the HMD brand. So Nokia has gone through quite a transformation. You're now a multifaceted business with, quite a huge focus area. Take us through your strategy in South Africa, and then we can also just branch off to what your strategy is across the continent.
Look, if we take in South Africa, we see that after COVID, the need of connectivity was very important. So during COVID, we helped operator to deploy faster 5G networks because the need of connectivity was there. We continue to deploy also 4G. The coverage of 4G in South Africa is really big. One of the longest partnership that we had on the continent is with Vodacom, and we continue this partnership. And for us, mobile network remain an important pillar of our strategy. The second pillar is what we call network infrastructure. Network infrastructure is building the infrastructure that we don't see, are not the tower that we know that our mobile phone is connecting, is on the back. The network infrastructure business allowed to connect the data center, allowed to connect the home with fiber, and allowed to bring intelligence and automation with our IP network as well. So for that point of view, and then we are also in the invisible part of the network, the part that we don't see. And then the third pillar is our cloud and network service business, which is really more our software business that we also specialize on security, as security has never been so important in Africa, especially if we consider more people get connected, more connection happen, the more you're going to need to control the security of the network that it doesn't get abused. So if I take in South Africa, beyond the three pillars that we have from an organization point of view, our strategy is to connect more people, whatever it is with fiber at home or whatever it is through the 4G or 5G or the evolution to 5.5G, and making sure that there is more resiliency in the unseen part of the digital infrastructure that interconnect data center, that create the big highway of communication across the country to make sure that we are resilient. Because we believe having a connection and having a resilient network, it's very important in order to capture the digital transformation in Africa, which will only be accelerated with artificial intelligence.
So you speak about how mobile connectivity is really a pillar of Nokia's strategy. Let's talk about the importance of having a good quality network and its contribution to Africa's digital economy. What role does Nokia play in providing this?
If we look at today, when we see a good connection, I always like to differentiate there as two connections. There's the mobile connection and there's the fixed connection. And both of them need to have a quality that is provided at the same level, independent where you are or independent on which package you are. I think the importance of the quality need to be reconsidered, because if we want everybody to be part of the digital economy, this connection need to be fast enough.
Absolutely.
And need to have the quality enough in order to allow entrepreneurship with this connectivity. And what we have seen is, I will give you an example. If you are today on your mobile network having a 5G, you have your mobile phone, you have a 5G SIM, and you use 3 gig of data per day, most of people in South Africa will not be able to spend that amount of money to consume 3 gig of data on their mobile phone. Therefore, the importance, if you want to run a small medium enterprise or a small entrepreneur is business online with digital connectivity, you need to be able to consume this 3 to 5 gig a day. Just to give an idea, 3 gig a day, it might be one Netflix movie, 1 or 2 hours scrolling on your reel, and 1 hour Microsoft Team call.
And so many Africans can't even afford that.
Yes.
So what does that then mean? How do we then lower the cost to communicate? And is Nokia, by any chance, working towards this with its partners?
Look, with our partner in South Africa, we should say the price of data has reduced massively over the last 10 years. Huge effort was done by the mobile operator to reduce the price of data. But what we also see, majority of the people, when they go home, they connect on their Wi-Fi, where they have unlimited bundle on the fiber. What we see today as a challenge is that when you go near the city in the high density area, in our township close to Johannesburg and other city in Africa, we realized that majority of the people still rely only on the mobile phone to connect. And that's why we have been working with smaller company. We just made an announcement in the press with Fiber Time, where we are bringing fiber with Fiber Time into the township in order to make sure that there is also a connectivity via fiber when the people get home after the day of work, that they can also consume data in a unlimited way. So I think that's what we see in South Africa very much important. But we also saw the mobile operator offering interesting packaging of phone 4G and 5G for the people at a lower price. So we see the whole industry is moving towards a price point. I see that the price point is about R5 a day for unlimited data. That's what actually we see going. But I don't think we will be able to go in one shot there, but there is this cohabitation of different technology, 4G, 5G, fiber, and non-terrestrial network. So I think that's really what we need to understand, which technology suits better for which area. And that's what is really important for us as a technology provider, not believing that one solution will solve all the problem, but it's going to be the cohabitation, those technology together. I believe 4G, 5G has still a long way to go to get more into the rural area, which is very important. And that's what we work with our partner to see how we can bring more 4G, 5G coverage into rural. But we also believe that in the high density area close to the city where people commute back home, there should also be a fiber offering or a fixed offering when they get home, that they can use the data while they are on a journey, but when they get home, they can also connect without being worrying how much data they are using.
So you speak on the importance of really expanding 4G, 5G to the rural areas. And the reality is that quite a large number of South Africans and Africans remain unconnected. I mean, according to research, around 38 to 43% of Africans are connected to the internet. So clearly there are key challenges as far as that is concerned. What do you think are some of the key contributing factors?
Let me give you another statistic, because the connection is very important. When you have a signal, 4G, 5G signal, or you have a fiber in your home, you are indeed considered connected. But I think the affordability is the main factor, as I mentioned before. What I was part of the digital stream as part of the B20, and the dialogue was very interesting with many people around the continent and South Africa and other area of the globe. And we read that there is about 800 million people in Africa that cannot afford. They are offline. Doesn't mean that they don't have a connection, but they are offline. And as I mentioned before, if you're not able to consume 2-3 giga data a day, even if you have a connection, you are still offline. So I believe the problem is twofold. Is how do we expand the coverage that everybody can have a signal? There's going to be the smartphone price, and a lot of operators are doing effort to reduce the price of the smartphone. And last but not least is how to bring affordability in the data, especially via fiber connection. And that's where we see companies in South Africa like Massive going into the township. We see company like FiberTime in the township, but also company like Metro Fiber Network or Frogfoot and other really trying to bring connectivity, affordable, at good quality in all area. But that's, again, it has to be limited where the technology fills its purpose. Fiber in a rural area will be very difficult, but mobile will be able to cover that. And if we go even in extreme rural, I believe that non-terrestrial network are really a good complementary of technology to access people to connectivity.
So you mentioned a few names there of mobile operators. Let's talk about the importance of partnerships, in order for you to fulfill your strategy. How is Nokia supporting local telecoms operators as they modernize their networks and prepare for the next generation connectivity?
I think I would like to start to say by a strong local team. I mean, I'm very proud that in South Africa, 90% of my employees are South African.
Yeah.
And bringing knowledge, expertise locally for us is very important. We just have invested as well in an innovation center locally where we can tackle problem together. is a 260 square meter facility where we aim to do training for a partner, but we also have about 50 to 70 rack in this where we can test equipment and test new technology together with our customer. And we also invest a lot in skill, but I will leave that for
We
the
are
time
going to
being.
come to that. Yes.
I will then add for later. But I think it's really important that there is a proximity of this technology. And because this proximity allows us to understand the problem locally and how we can resolve it together. And I like to also see that when we are close and we humble ourselves to try to understand the problem that our customers are facing locally, whatever it is on the financial side, whatever it is on the technology side, that we resolve this problem together by addressing them pragmatically. I think there's always people coming and promising a lot of things, everything in one hand, but I prefer to work via partnership. If I do what I do best, and if I need a partner to come and complement what I'm doing, I bring that partner on board. And that's how we bring a solution instead of aiming, oh, I can do everything alone. At Nokia, we really believe that partnership are important. So beyond the people and investing in innovation center locally, is really the breadth of our portfolio locally. Whatever a customer is trying to go from 4G to 5G, 5G advanced, we have the engineer capability locally. Whatever customer is trying to build bigger corridor to connect data center between Cape Town and Johannesburg, we have the competence locally in optical network. Or if somebody try to be smarter on how steering the traffic to reduce the cost in his network with our IP technology, we do it. Or if anybody want to protect his asset with security, we have those aspects. And again, always with teams that are based here. Of course, we have a huge support globally, but we really believe that South Africa especially is a big hub for Nokia for us. And from here, we want to really get this close understanding of the challenge that we have on the continent and addressing with proximity.
Let's talk about this innovation center that I've just found out about. So, what are its aims and objectives, and where does it stand as far as your vision for South Africa is concerned?
What we are looking at Nokia is also to, as I mentioned already a couple of times, working with partner. And those partners need, of course, training on our equipment in order for them to understand what they can do best for their customer. The aim for us as Nokia is not to do everything ourselves. We understand that there are some partners that are better equipped to do that. And that innovation center should create that space of collaboration between operator, Nokia, and local partner to create that. And I believe that when we do this, you are leaving value in the hand of local player, and what is on the long term much more beneficial for South Africa because it allowed to create jobs and it allowed to create skill that's gonna remain here. If you would come as Nokia and say, hey, you can have everything from one hand from us, it may looks a little bit like we're taking everything and we don't leave anything locally. So I believe the partnership that we do with other companies or with local companies, it's really enabling this value creation that also is retained where we are operating.
Are you able to provide an example of how these technologies are tested within the center, and what kind of technologies are we talking about
Look,
here?
I'm not allowed to mention
Without
them right
mentioning
now,
names.
but by saying, for example, we are testing on how potentially we could give command to an IP router instead of giving a complicated line code that we can give directly in native language. And we tested in English, we're testing now in Zulu, and we test in Xhosa as well, and Afrikaans. So we really try to see how can technology, AI, be beneficial, not only for making to be easier to be used in the context where we are. So when we launched the Innovation Center, we had one of this demo where we were showing on how directly somebody speaking in Zulu could give a command to configure a router. Or what we do, we use of AI to understand for a fiber technician that is on the field and is open a distribution box, that he can take a picture and AI will tell him if everything was done properly or if there is something that he missed before he close the box and leave. So this is the type of thing we test, not only is not only related to new technology, but how to make the technology we deploy easier to operate and in the context of South Africa.
So, when did the center launch, and how has reception been?
We launched that in we already October and August.
Oh,
In August this year, and we are now looking at program as well for training in this innovation center. We're also looking at getting students that we try to work with university to come and get some training on some of the newer technology out of this center. So it's something that we do as an investment in the country, but because we need our customer. But we also do a lot of remote support out of this center. Some of our African operator, if they have any challenge and we need to replicate the problem, we do it directly in this innovation center.
So ICT skills shortage is a huge crisis in South Africa, and being a big company as Nokia, I can imagine that retaining and also just building and reskilling can be quite a challenge. So how does Nokia then ensure a consistent pipeline of skills coming through? We hear of many South African companies importing skills from abroad. Is that an option for Nokia? Is it something that you're also doing? How do you just ensure that you have the right ICT skills at all times?
Look, as I mentioned before, 90% of our people are South African, and we really pride ourselves of having that. By the time that we have been in the country, so over the year, we build very strong talent that are in the industry, even in key position. But what I think, what we keep doing today is there are three parts of our this program that we do in terms of skill development. First of all, as part of skill development, we realized that it was very important that we need in South Africa a strong institute that can create certified training for young people, no matter where the background
Absolutely.
is. And that's very important. Therefore, we are really happy that we had a collaboration since the beginning with Forge Academy. That is the first digital university in South Africa, providing skill not only for us, for Nokia, but for the ICT industry in
Yes.
general. They have many partnership with many big companies at this moment in time, but they also have a reach because they go further than just the big cities. And in this collaboration, we train between 50 to 80 students every year on digital technology based on what we believe the market needs. So we give them a feedback to show what is required from a skill point of view. And they have a fantastic absorption rate. So those youngs get jobs. I mean, one of the gentlemen from Forge, the CEO, Craig, told me the story about one of the cohort that Nokia was supporting. This young lady got a job now in BMW in Germany as a cloud
That's
specialist.
amazing.
That's the type of story that make you feel well and really show that it's helping. But what we also do, we have intern programs where every year we try to get 10 to 15 young graduates inside Nokia, and we let them work with our project with the aim to potentially provide them a full-time job as soon we believe that they are ready for that, or to give them a first work experience, because most of the time the young people, that's what they need. They need a first of opportunity to show that they can, and then the market will provide the opportunity for them as they are shortage in the ICT skill. And then the last part, which is something relatively new, I also want to start to see what can we do for the students that are in training at university in the last year to start to get really practical skill. Because sometimes we complain that they get out of university, but it
And
takes
they're
6
not
months.
workplace ready.
Exactly. So, and that's also something we believe is important. So we're going to start as well a program, and that's where our lab will also be used to try to get students to come in Nokia. We still don't know exactly the number, but we are working with a couple of universities on that we allow that as well, those students to come. And we believe is essential because skill in technology and digital technology is what potentially could lift up our youth that are unemployed to become more entrepreneurial and create their own company as well in the digital economy. And that's the beauty. And that's why if we look all together, we need connectivity via fiber or via mobile to an individual. We need the service to be resilient in order for young people as well to create their own small, medium enterprise using this infrastructure and this technology, but we need to provide the skill. And the partnership are important because we are not just training on one, but is an ecosystem that we bring. So if we look at that, is part of our strategy, and all those pieces come together.
Wow. Well, you seem like you're quite a busy man with all these multifaceted.
I have a strong team.
Yeah, kudos to the team there. Let's talk about some exciting initiatives that Nokia is working on, regarding 5G. Africa is now booming with AI initiatives across the continent, and also network automation and a whole lot of other initiatives that Nokia is currently at the forefront of. What are some of your big projects at the moment?
Look, let me start with 5G. I think is what is good to see is that there is a continuous investment in 5G in South Africa to increase the coverage. 5G as a technology is much more efficient than the previous generation, so it has the potential to provide more bandwidth, more speed, less latency than 4G had. But we also see now the evolution towards 5.5G. But one use case that we see taking place in Africa is about fixed wireless access. How to use fixed wireless access technology on 5G for location where they don't have fiber. And that's also something that we work closely with some operator to understand how can we democratize more FWA. On the same time, one initiative that we do with on the fiber is how to bring more fiber to the home in the low-income segment and high-density area. That's really something important to us because, as I mentioned before, we believe that anybody should be able to go home, or any kids coming back from school should be able to go and get a YouTube tutorial to learn on how to do a math problem that they didn't understood at school. But if they don't have access to data at an affordable price, it won't be possible. So for that point of view, for us, bringing more fiber to the home in the low-income high density area, it's very important. And that, for example, the announcement that we did with Fiber Time not so long ago, but also with Net99, another ISP targeting the townships. But then is when you look at the network from that perspective, is how do you make them sustainable and scalable? And that's where all the automation part come. Because from an operator, the more diverse service you offer, the more you need to automate. And that's really important for the operator to keep their cost low, that the price remain competitive also on the end product they provide to the end user. Then another initiative that we're doing, and at the Africa Tech Festival, we will bring that forward, is the rural connectivity. How to bring site in more remote area to provide 4G, 5G connectivity in those locations. So it means redesigning the site in such a way that it become easy to operate and maintain, and also from a power point of view, self-sustainable as much as possible with solar panel, wind turbine, and other. So that's also one part.
So we're going to be seeing more 5G spots
Yes.
across the rural areas.
I believe we're gonna see the 4G, 5G coverage going much further, the 5G as well. We're gonna see fiber getting in more household, and we're gonna see also the testing of non-terrestrial network getting for more deep rural area where we want also have coverage. I believe anybody need to have a connection, and that's what is important.
It should be internet for all.
Yes.
At any cost. Well, we can't exactly wrap this conversation without talking about artificial intelligence.
Absolutely.
How is the rapid deployment of AI fueling business growth for Nokia?
Look, in Nokia, we say that we use network for AI and AI for network. So basically, they are twofold. You as a consumer, or you as a citizen, me and you as a citizen, or an enterprise or a government entity, see a fantastic benefit of using AI in terms of improving processing, improving profitability, improving productivity, improving many aspects of our life day to day, or as an enterprise KPI. But all this AI load will need to be processed somewhere.
Yes.
And that's where we believe that is important that the network evolve to be ready for AI loads. And what are the networks that need to be ready for the AI loads? It is your base station, it is your 5G, 5.5G, 6G base station that's going to need to be ready for the AI loads. But it is also your data center that's going to need to be ready for the AI load. It is also your transmission network, your optical network, your optical highway that need to be ready for AI. And that's what we are building with our partner, is really building network that are ready for the AI waves.
era.
Is a tsunami that will come, which will boost the amount of data that we're going to use, because it's going to be, when you ask for a video to be generated on generative AI, you want to have a quick answer. So data will go both ways. It's not just we download it, but you're going to send data, you're going to get it back on a more symmetrical way. But also when we speak about AI agent, agentic AI, you're going to have a sort of latency. So it means that those data center cannot just be on the other side of the world. They need to be near you. We made a test in our lab with a AI agent to try to look at the latency. And we put the data center where the AI load was hosted was in Germany. And we thought that it was not practical to use it. We didn't have a really good sense. It was a concierge service giving an answer about Nokia, but we didn't have a good feedback. But if that is hosted locally in a data center, you're going to have that experience that you want with AI. So I really believe latency is going to be very important. It means that you're going to drive investment in data center and optical network, and AI will continue to do that. But on the other side, AI can be used to manage complexity. I was telling you before about operating a network with natural language and also local language. So for that point of view, you also use AI for operating your network. If you want to make sure that your base station use all its asset in the best way, you're going to need to have a lot of AI helping on that. If you want your base station to consume as less power as possible, or your transmission network using as less power as possible, AI will help on that. So we need AI to make the networks more efficient, more programmable, more automated, but we need also the network to be ready for the AI load that we as consumer, citizen, or enterprise or government will want to take advantage of. And that's what I believe the AI revolution really happened. But first, we need a resilient digital infrastructure, and we need connectivity for the people, as mentioned before, via fiber or wireless.
Well, I couldn't agree more with you. The AI evolution is definitely going to bring an AI tsunami, and we better be prepared for that. So, looking ahead, what does the future hold for Nokia as we wrap up?
As we wrap up, I mean, on the really short term, there's the amazing AfricaCom event that we're going to be in 10 days from now, where all the dialogue on the industry will happen on the really short term. But for us on the long term, I think there's going to be an increasing collaboration and partnership in the industry. And this week, there was an announcement that NVIDIA will invest $1 billion into Nokia. And I think is also due to the AI, we see especially for the evolution from 5G to 6G. So what we believe, we will continue at Nokia do what we are good at. We continue to be close to our customer locally, and where we need, we look for partnership, and that's where whatever it is at the global scale, like the one we just announced with NVIDIA, all locally with partner that help us to deploy what is needed. So, but one thing that will remain in our DNA is innovation leadership. We really believe that it's important that if we are in the technology domain, you do it right. So that's why we really believe in developing our own chipset in all our line of product, whatever it is radio, optics, and IP. Because if you are close to your technology from the smallest component, that's where by adding software, adding ecosystem, adding partnership, you can really get the best of what we do. And that's to me really what I'm trying to, with my team, to inspire them, and they are very motivated to see how we can continue to collaborate with everybody in the ecosystem to bring solution to the problems. Of course, it has to be sustainable and scalable. And that's what I believe is the key. So what we're going to do continue at the Nokia is to have dialogue with all stakeholders on how to bring sustainable and scalable model. Because if any network is not sustainable and scalable, it will fail. And it will leave people upset because they will not get what they want. So scalability and sustainability, it's very important for us, whether it's from an energy point of view, from a business case point of view, or from an inclusivity point of view. That's what makes a business sustainable.
Well, Tony, I can really imagine your teams being really busy with all these exciting initiatives at the center of the business, and we do wish you the best with business.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you for having me and all your audience.
Thank you so much for an insightful conversation. And that was Toni Pellegrino, who is the head of network infrastructure, South and Eastern Africa, and the managing director of Nokia South Africa. Remember to share, like, and subscribe, and do follow us on X. It's from me, Sibahle Malinga. It has been another exciting episode of ITWeb TV. Adios.